Hello and welcome to SoBricks. I'm Adam and this is SoBricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Ultra Agents Drillex Diamond Job set. This is set number 70168. It has 312 pieces and I paid $40 for this set. So, Ultra Agents is a theme that I do not believe I have ever covered at all on my channel. It is a theme from some time ago. So this set is from 2015. I don't know how long it ran. I think it was medium successful, but there's a couple interesting things about it. Because Ultra Agents, if this is 2015, that puts us around the same areas as Chima, Nexonites, and then I think Hidden Side is like a little bit later. And we're looking at like all of these Lego owned internal intellectual property things. This also fits in because I didn't necessarily know this, but it has something called SoBricks included, which is very interesting to me. So I think this was also at a point when Lego was like leaning heavily into app integration and like smart device integration and virtual kind of things like that for different things, which they did do with Nexonites and Hidden Side. And now we see it with Mario, maybe done a little bit more successfully. They've done it with a lot of themes here and there, and so it's kind of interesting to see another iteration of that or another version of that to see you know, where that lies. But I'm going to be judging this probably mainly as a Lego set. I mean, I don't know if the app is still supported. I want to say it's probably not, but it may be, but I'm mostly going to focus on this as a Lego set. So 2015, this came out. It is retired. It is sealed in box. I paid $40 for this. It retailed for $30 in 2015. So a little bit. I think, you know, on eBay or something, these can be found for around $40, maybe a little bit more. Hopefully a little bit less. On Bricklink, for whatever reason, as far as I can tell, for people who are in the US where I live, so sellers in the US, there was only one available sealed, and it was like $100. So I don't really know how Ultra Agents stuff stands. I don't know for how long it was a series here, but I haven't looked at any, and I'm really excited to take a look at this. So in this video, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Ultra Agents Drillex Diamond Job set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot, means a lot to me. And then I wanted to talk about the build. So we start off with a minifigure and a little bit of a side build that I do go into some detail about. I thought it was really clever and fun. And then we can start working on this Drillex driller machine thing here. So a little bit of Technic. There are some gears in this because there's some really nice functionality. So we do add a gearbox in there. You can see with those tapered gears and some different stuff kind of going in the side. And then we are kind of rounding this out. There's a little bit of sticker detail internally. Most of it is external. And up until now, this vehicle still doesn't have, you know, much of a shape. We just basically have like the hull or like the center kind of chassis element, but it's really going to start taking shape here. We have a little bit of building and kind of detail work to cover up the gearbox. And then we add sort of the mechanisms for the tread on either side, which it has instead of wheels. It does make use of a kind of a cheater wheel or whatever underneath there to aid in some of the tread rotation and some of the other functions here. And then we put together a bunch of these tread link pieces, I think 41 for each side, so 82 total. So a good amount of those and a few extras. So that is fine. We can add those, and then we can add some more details on this, including kind of the final sort of drill head features for the front end, and that integrates in with the rest of it. Kind of final details here for the shaping, and that's pretty much it. So now onto my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the Lego Ultra Agents Drillex Diamond Job set. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with this overall. I think I don't know what the overall opinion on Ultra Agents is, looking back from in 2025 to when these were coming out. And like I said at the beginning, it's a theme, it's a line of Lego toys that or Lego sets that I'm not familiar with at all. And so I don't know like all of the characters. I don't know the storyline. I don't know necessarily like how, if there was if there was a show element to it, or if there was web comics, or I just do not know. But looking at like what's in the box for a given set, I think I have a pretty good sense of this set here. And I really enjoyed this. So this is cool, and there's a good amount of stuff to look at. So we will get into it. And the first thing we will look at is the minifigures. You get two minifigures in this. The first one is Curtis Bolt. So that is this one here. I'm assuming that is one of the Ultra Agents or something. They're kind of I don't know, but based off the name of the theme and whatever else, maybe they're spy. They're kind of not superheroes, because maybe they don't have superpowers, but they got like super spy gear, sort of Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt kind of stuff, or James Bondy, or maybe like boy, I don't even know other examples, but it feels like that's something that it could be adjacent to in some respects, and maybe it tilts more towards the like science fiction and stuff like that. Just based off what I see here, I could buy into that. But here we have Curtis Bolt. I don't know if they are like a main character here or what exactly, but I feel pretty confident that they are an Ultra Agents. This one's cool. So this has the older style of the stud shooter here. The trigger mechanism just has an orange translucent stud in there, so we do get that, and that is fine. And then we can look at the figure itself. Hairpiece, very, very standard kind of combed hair here. The face printing itself, something about these feels like, I don't know if I love like the graphic design on these characters. It's so, but we do have a lot of details on the head. So we have kind of like an earpiece or a microphone or something like that. We have kind of a screen or a visor, a heads up display kind of thing over one eye. You can see the mouth kind of open there. This character does have an alternate face, so I can show that, and it gives us kind of more of a smirk sort of there, whereas this one is maybe a little bit different. They're pretty close, but we can see some differences in the shape of the mouth, and I think the eyebrows a little bit. So that is that, and we can see how that is framed up with the hairpiece, so that is good. This character does have an accessory kind of around the neck there, but looking at the torso, we got this like super detailed kind of bodysuit armor kind of thing. It's got like the Ultra Agents A there. I think the color choices on here are really nice, and there's like a really cool hexagon kind of beehive pattern behind there, and there's nice differences in line thickness, nice use of color and sort of pseudo shading or like stuff throughout here. So I think this is really detailed and really very cool. So happy to see that. There is no printing on the midsection for this one. It's just the black midsection there. Then we do have printing on the legs, which are all the way up at the top, in the middle kind of knee sections, and down onto the feet. So that is really good. Again, some very fine details in here, some nice little lines kind of around the knee pad areas and stuff like that, which is great. There is no printing on the arms. So the accessory is kind of one of these backpack accessories that has You could attach Technic pins into here or studs into there, I suppose. And we just actually put a modified 1x2 plate on the bottom with these kind of trans blue flag or wing type pieces there that get clipped on. Now, these have a stickers on them. So two different stickers. There are stickers in this set, and a couple of them are used for the minifigure here. And so those are fine. They do have kind of that same sort of hexagonal pattern through there, that like webbing kind of, which I think is very cool. And the design for those feels about right. And they are clear backed. They're put on a translucent piece there. So that is fine. And then if we look at the back of this figure, so if we take that off, the kind of jetpack or glider or whatever this might be considered for Curtis here, we can see the back of the character. Again, on the torso, super, super detailed. It is not like the exact same as the front, but it has a lot of the similar kind of design choices, again, with that hexagonal pattern kind of in there, that like mesh grid kind of stuff, a little bit of like almost armor, wingsuit, capsule, parachute thing on the back, up at the like shoulders areas here. There's some extra stuff around the kind of waist down there. So very, very detailed back. It does get covered up, and so then we wouldn't see a lot of it, but this is a nicely detailed detailed figure rather. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, it remains true in my experience, for the most part, of like different themes that maybe aren't around anymore. But themes that like Lego owns, that's not owned by a different company and licensed for Lego to make toys for them and stuff like that. They do a really, really good job of generally like graphic design and the amount of design and the amount of printed details. So when I look at Chima figures, Nexonite figures, Hidden Side figures, Dreams figures, Ninjago figures, like a lot of these things, and then as you go further back, maybe that changes a little bit. But from this era and the current era and stuff like that, when we look at figures for properties that the Lego group is the entire owner of, they do some really good detail. So this has a ton of awesome detail in it. It's a really, really nice character. I don't love the graphic design for the face, like I said, but other than that, like the printing for the torso and the legs is quite good. So happy to see that. And then the other character we get here is Drillex. So I'm assuming that is like one of the villain characters. And this set is the Drillex diamond job. So that makes sense. And this reminds me of like, I suppose like the Underminer or whatever from The Incredibles, but it's like a drill based villain, I suppose, which is fun. So they have a couple minifigure accessories on the hands with those like power gauntlets and the drill pieces there. I can pop those off. This character also has a helmet and has a pretty built up, or not built up, but a pretty beefy kind of armor thing there. So I'm going to take those off in a second here. We do put the one stud on there, but this is like a nicely designed kind of pauldron chest armor chest piece there. We do have the ability to still like move the arms a good amount, which is nice. It bothers me sometimes when the like armor kind of interferes with that. If we look around the back, this is kind of interesting. It kind of looks like it has like a jetpack or something here. It does have this bar element coming off the back of it. This set doesn't have anything like clipped to there or anything studded on there, or anything like that, but I'm assuming that's maybe what it was used for, and it could. This helmet is not specifically for Ultra agents. I want to say Anakin uses a similar like helmet, but just in brown instead of kind of this dark metallic gray color for like pod racing. And I think they've used this kind of helmet, or at least the same mold, for other things. But we can pop that off and pop the armor off so we can see a bit more of this figure. And this is pretty cool. So looking at the head, I don't know if Drillex is kind of a cyborg or kind of sort of a tech kind of combination of like like a robot and a human person or something, or a minifigure person or whatever. So we do have kind of this like metal plate up there that could also just be a mask or goggles or something like that. It doesn't need to be integrated with them, but it's hard for me to tell. Again, I'm not like the biggest fan of the mouth design for this, although it is like expressive, and there's a lot of really good details around here with the metallic printing. And we do have an alternate face, and kind of like Curtis there, the two faces are pretty similar, but like the mouth is the big change. And I'm just not like super thrilled of the design choices for these. It feels like it doesn't necessarily fit maybe with some of the other theming in here, but I am a new, this is my introduction to Ultra Agents, so maybe that's how they look, and that's a choice, and they can stand by that if they wish. It just feels a little bit weird to me, and I don't know if there's like production issues that lead to some of the mouths looking kind of like blotchy almost, or like there's an extra amount of ink or whatever on there, but we do get that. And yeah, really, really good detailed headpiece. There's no hairpiece for this one, so it just has the helmet, and the helmet actually does cover up a good amount of the like detail kind of for that like metal part there. We just see a little bit on the sides, and of course the goggles there. I think this is also used for like aim agents in Marvel stuff occasionally. I think that's what they're called. And something about like the face actually and maybe some of the other color scheme and details here kind of reminds me of that, which I think are in certain Marvel sets. Looking at the torso itself, really, really detailed again, and this is cool. This is I think an older orange color for like the arms, but I'm not 100% sure. And they have kind of this armor here. It sort of mirrors the armor there, like they do with like Chima and Nexonites, that we do put this tile on the stud on the front of like the armor piece, but then underneath that we kind of have that same sort of design element there. There's got like little tubes going on, little like buckles and different things, which is very cool. And then kind of has like this chest plate there. There's a little kind of symbol in the middle, which looks like a sort of almost like an internet symbol of like a web that's kind of creating a sphere. I don't know how else to describe it, but that is really nice. Some good kind of shiny printing on there. This one does have printing on the midsection. It feels to me almost like high vis-esque stuff. So has kind of this like silver stripe going across there, and I think that is orange as well. So it's got a little element of that and the buckle in there, which is good. And then we do have printing on the legs up at the top, in the middle, down onto the feet. So good detail all the way through here. Nice fine lines, different line thicknesses throughout this. And the production work, I think, and the design work for the legs and the torsos for both of these characters are quite good. And produced well. I think for some reason the faces kind of throw me. And when I go back and look at is it Hero Factory, or is that kind of Bionicle adjacent? What were the ones that had those? It was sort of like anime manga inspired, and the hair pieces were kind of like a rubbery hair piece, but they were all like spiky and cool and different colors. I can't remember what that theme is called, but I think those had kind of an interesting design for the faces. And I think there was some like Lego Star Wars stuff that had a different design philosophy for the faces for the while. And I don't know if that was like Clone Wars stuff, or like from a different era, or what exactly, but this is sort of vaguely reminding me of those other themes, and other times Lego's sort of taken maybe more risks in more big changes for minifig design. But I don't know, something about the face I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is. It just strikes me as odd and a little bit different. If we look at the back of the torso, it's pretty much the same. It's kind of got this back panel back there. It does have the same kind of emblem in there, the buckles and stuff. It doesn't have like the kind of tubes or wire kind of detail there, but it is pretty similar. Again, good detail on the back of it. It does get covered up for the most part by the armor piece there. So we do get that. And those are the two figures and their kind of accessories, which is nice. And there is more to the build here. Now, I'm going to hold off on talking about this little subassembly side element here for a little while, but I will talk about this because you do build this right away. And I think this kind of side build is smart and cool. And I don't know if I would have. I don't know if this is exactly what it is. It feels like it might be to me, which feels very, yeah, kind of Mission Impossible, kind of Ocean's Heist type thing here, but kind of a take on like a classic, iconic sort of scenario. And what it looks like is like a diamond, or it's got one of those Lego gem pieces here, just in this kind of pedestal. And then it has these like mech arm finger clip pieces off there and up here with these like lightsaber red translucent bar elements. And I think those are supposed to be like, security lasers that you might see a Catwoman kind of like dodging around or something in. Lots of different movies use kind of those things as like and TV shows use that as a device for maybe tension and for whatever else. So like sort of weaving through there as one goes in Split Fiction. In that game, there was like elements of this trying to dodge the kind of lasers because that would trigger the alarm or something like that. And I think that's what those are supposed to be. So you could angle them a little bit. You could have them, get kind of more over here or whatever. And these could, potentially like you could rotate these or whatever. It's a little bit hard that the kind of clip piece there that is in the end of that other piece is not spinning super easily for me, so it is just unclipping. But you probably could do that. I think that's what it's supposed to be, and I think that is like the objective of Drillex, to sort of go into a museum or a bank or a house or a safe or a whatever and try to steal this diamond. And he might have to, or they might have to contend with some extra security measures with these lasers. So I think that's pretty smart and cool. And I don't know if I've seen it done in Lego like this. So I appreciated that. And then the rest of the set is this Drillex driller vehicle here, and this is cool. So I think color wise it fits with the colors of Drillex. So to my eyes it looks like yellows and oranges. I don't know if there's like greens or if this is kind of more of a lime greeny color or anything like that. I don't think so, but admittedly I don't know. I am colorblind, but the build for this is very cool. They've done this stuff in other sets. I mean, I've looked at a I know there's the Sonic set with like the egg drillster thing. I've looked at several other sets that use kind of the drilling kind of stuff here, construction sets, and I know that they've used these types of pieces for the drill like bits or the tips of those in Chima stuff and lots of other stuff. So it's not like wholly unique in that sense. power miners or whatever, or just lots of different stuff. There's like there's drill vehicles. There was a city mine set that I looked at that had kind of something like this as well. But this is like a really good version of that. It does feel almost like, if this is supposed to be kind of caution, reflective, high vis stuff. So it's almost like a men's Drillex kind of corruption or something. I don't know if that's a storyline, but that's what I'm like reading for it. And this feels very like modified construction equipment used for nefarious ends here. And I think it really succeeds in that. So the build for this is actually pretty straightforward. We have some Technic bricks down here. We build up kind of a panel using pseudo like hull pieces that are like a 4x4 with some inverted kind of slope areas on them. We build that out. We build it up through the front. There's like more Technic brick in there. We expand it out a little bit just with some plates. And then we use pretty simple, straightforward techniques in terms of, connecting all this little detail into it. But this does have some functionality. This is also where the rest of the stickers are utilized. So any kind of detail that might be a sticker is a sticker here. So, on each of these little sub-assemblies, there's one on the back. That one looks a little bit crooked to me, so I'll have to fix that. And then the one on the front, then over here, and the one on the front. Right here is a sticker kind of in the middle of that piece. This is a sticker there. And then there's one more, which is used internally kind of in the cockpit or the driver area down there. So those are the stickers, as well as the ones on the flying or gliding apparatus that Curtis is utilizing in this set. So those are all the stickers. Not too big of an issue with any of those. They all feel fine to me. And I suppose they could be left off. I think they add some nice detail. There's not like an obscene amount. It feels appropriate for this size of thing to have them, and I think it could have been way worse. We could have had to put stickers on this canopy windscreen piece or on these like slopes underneath here or stuff like that, and I'm glad we didn't do that. So they add some nice detail to me, and I think that's fun. We use treads here. So we have these like tread assemblies with the gears in there. And you may have seen from the bottom, we have kind of this like, I don't know what they call these, this like guide wheel or cheat wheel or kind of a thing there. And we actually make a little groove for that using a regular plate and then the modified plates with the rail on there. So it's not perfectly center. It's a little bit off center, but that is connected to the axle that is connected to the gears, which are in the treads, at least these ones up here. And there's some functionality to it. So there's like gear work all the way throughout this. And you can see we have gears kind of up here on the side. And there's actually a gearbox piece with 3 of those like sloped or angled gears, or what do they call these? I don't remember, but there's one of those kind of tucked underneath all of this as well. And then we have the stuff kind of going on the back, which are maybe more visual, but also as like guidance for the tracks themselves. And then we have the actual drill apparatus up front with some different gears there, as well as the ones kind of in the back of these pieces that fit so nicely there. And that is because as we drive this, those rotate, and it's done really, really well. So the like cheat wheel or whatever underneath there does a pretty good job. It does have that like rubber tire piece there. This is on a padded surface kind of with a desk mat here. So it's not just on a like wood table or a countertop or something. And even still like that, depending on where I'm putting pressure or how much downward force I'm applying to this, sometimes like if I move it back like that, it just slides. And I'm sure I could probably get that to do that going forward, although maybe not. And that's okay. I don't know if it's possible to have these treads move in opposite directions so that we could like do a 0 radius turn or anything like that. It seems like because the front axle is connected all the way through. It is just going to mostly go like forward and back. And if you put a comfortable amount of pressure, not too much, not too little on there, you should be able to get that to work, forward and backward. And I think this is really well done. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense in terms of like the physics of it in the real world, but in the Ultra Agents world or in the Lego world, I think it's very fun. So as these rotate, this whole assembly up here rotates. We have the gears on the side, and then the one in the middle that is connected to like a drivetrain that's connected to, I hope I'm using that term correctly, connected to like these gears up here, and those gears up here are connected to the gears that are by the axles. So it goes over to other sides, and then, this side doesn't have one in the middle connecting these. So there's just that third one on one of the sides, not over here, but that is okay. And that does mean that like this one over here is mostly for symmetry and mostly for looks. I think the same could be said for the one down here, because they're not actually, these gear teeth aren't interacting with anything else, but they are connected to axles that are connected to something else. So we do get that a little bit. And as those go, or as we move like the bottom wheel here, it rotates this whole assembly, but it also then rotates these individually as well. So those drill elements are also spinning, and it might be kind of hard to tell just because the whole assembly is spinning as well. But because these are connected, through the center of those, these are going to spin as well, and they spin kind of in the same direction that this is going. But that gives us like a really nice kind of multi-faceted drilling action feature there, and it is connected to the axle and the treads, so it can be pretty effective at doing that. And I think it works really well, and it looks really cool. And so I was very pleased to see that. We do see a little bit of the blue Technic here kind of on the side. It's to be expected, not a huge issue to me. Would be great if we didn't, but I'm not going to get like bent out of shape about that. We do have some like stud shooters at the rear. Looking at this, these are actually on a hinge piece, the older style stud shooter, not the same one. It doesn't have the bar element coming off of it, but they just get studded down. So we have those. They have red translucent in them right now. On the back, we have what looks to be like thruster or something like that. I thought maybe the drilling function would be attached to this. I know I've seen Lego do stuff like that in the past, where turning this actually like turns the stuff at the front. That is not the case, but you can turn this. It's actually not a bad handle to use, but it's hard to get like enough downward pressure so that these treads engage with whatever surface they are on. So we get that back there. Not a ton of detail at the rear, but feels pretty good. I do like this angle here, which is great. There's like a little bit of detail building inside around the gearbox. We actually use some like, I think they are gold pieces. They're like pearl gold, and I think they're the older kind of pearl gold, but maybe not. I think that's what they're supposed to be, unless there's like a metallic green or something that I'm just completely not remembering. But it feels like it's a different formula kind of for like pearl gold, if that is what it is. And I don't know specifically when they changed it. I think they did, though. So that was kind of interesting to see. I could be wrong about that, but I want to say they kind of altered how they did gold pieces like that, molded gold pieces at some point. So that just looks different to me than like a modern gold stud might look in 2025. So those mostly get covered up, but they're just a little bit in there. Of course, little detail work here, pretty straightforward. These assemblies are on there with some kind of Technic, so those actually do a pretty good job of like adding kind of armor to this, and an extra layer of different angles that they cut at, and these slopes are really, really nice and kind of hide some of the stuff. We kind of have exposed axle on both sides there, and we can kind of hide that a little bit, especially looking at it like top down, because these kind of overlap there, which is nice to see. And then the back and like the cab, or like where a character might sit is really, really basic. I do like this canopy piece. It is like in the trans red there, and it's kind of multifaceted, different angles throughout there. So that is really cool to get. It is clipped on there just with a couple of these modified 1x2s. We can open that up. Like I said, there is a sticker in there. There is some good room in here, and I think we could, fit Drillex in there without removing any accessories. I think, they might have a hard time piloting or driving this machine if they had those like power gauntlets on. I think we can sit them down in here. I don't have them studded down right now, but some of these kind of drill gauntlets are maybe getting in the way. So maybe we don't want to have those on, but I just liked to think that we could have, and they may just interact too much. I thought we could kind of get them on either sides of that kind of center console there, but I'm not sure if we can. So let me see here. Okay, there we go. I have them studded in there. We have the kind of drill accessories going to either side. They are studded down in a seated position. They can close up really nice there. The other thing that these do, there's like a gap because of the angle that this sits at. And these kind of hide that a little bit. There's, it's not a completely flush enclosed area. There's some gaps back here as well. I don't really mind that. This doesn't like come all the way down to these red dish pieces. That is because of these slopes is where it was hitting. So we do have some gaps there, but not a big issue to me. I want to say we could put this character in here standing as well. I'll have to see about that. Hopefully I can do it a little bit quicker than I did the seating. And if we get them something like that, close that up, we can get them standing in there. They have their armor on, they have their helmet, and they have their power gauntlet drill hand mechanisms as well. So they do leave enough room in there for that, and I think that is well considered. So that's really, really good, and then, they can't maybe really see out of this, but maybe they have a monitor or a screen, and it's all sorts of other stuff. I don't really know, use a little bit of imagination, but they sit, recessed in there nicely, and there's a good amount of space that allows for us to put them in there without having to remove minifigure accessories, which I always appreciate for when it makes sense. If not, we would maybe take off these power gauntlet things and put them somewhere else, and I would like it if it had storage for them. But the way that this is set up, we can fit them in there with those on. If we took those off, I'm pretty confident we could find places to stick them in here sort of loosely, and that would be fine. So that is pretty cool. And overall, the build for this, yeah, pretty straightforward, effective, nicely designed. It cuts some cool angles. I think it looks sort of properly menacing, but also potentially could be or could operate almost as a construction equipment or mining equipment on its own. And I think the drill feature is really nice. So it looks good like this, looks good from the side, in my opinion. Top down, I really like. And, the back is a little bit lacking, but they did put some stuff there, which is okay. And it's good size for this. It's pretty light, but it feels quite good to play with and to operate. And that's kind of everything that's in this set. There is, however, one final thing. So we have this little sub-assembly using some stud on the side bricks, have the gauntlet here in yellow, actually, I think, and then have the kind of unicorn horn drill piece there. But these black studs on these side bricks are unique, and I've never seen them before, and they call these app bricks or something. So if we look on the other side, these are not studs. These are essentially like molded, raised, like play button or power button looking pieces there. So they have a stud on the top, they have a stud on the side, but then on one of the other sides, or the opposite side of the stud, they have this kind of thing here that we can't really connect anything to as far as I'm aware. And that is because it appears to me to be a sort of I don't know if augmented reality is the right thing, but some sort of like digital. Oh, cool. This is looking at some Technic stuff at the back here, and I think I've looked at this one's quad bike, but I don't 100% know. Looking at like other Ultra Agents set here, from this era. It says download the app and use the app brick gadget to complete the mission. So something about we scan this in and we press that onto it and it can recognize those shapes, or something that this did that could use this app brick gadget to do something in the Ultra Agents app or game or level or whatever. Now, to me, in my eyes, this looks kind of like it's supposed to be a micro scale version of this Drillex driller here. Now, it doesn't have the dual kind of drill bits there, but it just has the one. But I think that's like roughly what I would say. So to me, this almost seems like we would scan this in and then we can play sort of the storyline or the mission of this set, this Drillex diamond job, in the app. And so I think this like is recognizable as or to the app is recognizable, indicating that it's this set, that it's this storyline, these characters, whatever. And I can't help but feel that this is, you know, a super small scale version of the driller vehicle in this set. I think this is interesting. I mean, I don't often see like Lego pieces that I haven't seen before outside of like maybe new pieces. Occasionally there'll be like special pieces used for scanning stuff in or different stuff like that. But a lot of times, like with Nexonites, those had like printed details and kind of QR code adjacent details. The hidden side stuff had the little like different colors that they would use, and you could like turn and only have some of them visible and stuff like that. And obviously like Mario stuff has its own kind of system for that. So this is interesting to see. I don't know how successful it was or how well it worked, but these kind of app brick pieces are just a interesting little piece of Lego history, a little bit of a novelty there that I haven't seen done and used in other sets, I don't think. So very interesting to see that. I'm not going to be able to test how it works or if it works or what can be done with it, but that is on here. It is on the box and it is described in the instructions, and it is in this set and part of it. So we do have that as well, which is fine. And I also like, even as like just a accessory or an added thing to this, I can envision, you know, Drillex like planning this heist or planning this mission or planning this machinery here, and like having a like model on a big table, you know, a miniature there on a map, showing their plan as like villains are wont to do. And so I like having this even as just part of this set as kind of a miniature thing, or maybe this could act as like a little like drone that went out on its own. So this drills in through the bank vault or through the thing, and then this one can travel remotely and be a little more delicate and a little fine-tuned, and just maybe this is the one that is used to get the jewel out of here. All of that makes sense to me. Didn't take me long to think of that. A little bit of imagination, a little bit of play. This is integrated into the set in a way that's not just used for scanning in the app. So I appreciate that inclusion, and I do like seeing interesting Lego stuff here. I will show the extra pieces because we do get some. I will say I have over here the extra of the translucent studs, like the orange, which is for Curtis bolt kind of shooter. For the ones on the drill, these use red. I don't think they came with an extra one here in terms of like extra ammunition. I think this is one that is like supposed to be in the extra pieces. It is pretty common to have an extra set sometimes of projectiles for a given thing, and then also have one more in the extra pieces themselves. I don't know if one was caught in one of the bags or something, or maybe they weren't doing that as much at that time. But I do know for like the orange, we have the one in the stud shooter, one extra, and then another one extra in here. So just a little odd thing. We do have 3 of these extra tread elements there because there's like 82, I think, used, 41 for each of these. But they did add a couple extras. You got an extra of that interesting, I think, gold's there, the kind of angled gear or kind of tapered gear, trigger mechanism piece, 2 of those actually, because we use them for here and for there. They're in different bags. So all your extra pieces, your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, your pins, your little accessories, your treads, your gears, all of that good stuff. And this set is 312 pieces. It has 2 minifigures and it retailed for $30 in 2015. I paid $40 for it. Seems like the going price on a lot of places is around that $40 to $50 price range for a new like sealed inbox one for this. And for whatever reason on Bricklink, the one that I saw in the US, which is where I am, was priced rather high, but I think these are available to be purchased for around that $40 price point there. I'll say, I think $30 is pretty good for this. I mean, maybe in 2015 that felt not great, but the price per piece makes sense. There are some like bigger pieces in here. The minifigures are good and have a lot of detail in there. I'm not 100% convinced on the mouths there that I like those or whatever. The build is very good. Size wise, this feels about right. So I think $30 for this is good. Obviously, I paid $40 for this. If we take into account inflation, this is retired. It's also a retired theme. I got this new inbox, still sealed. So there's one less of these out in the world, and they haven't been produced for some time now, going on a decade. So they are there's one fewer out there. They're one rarer, but they're still available. I don't think $40 is too bad. I think there are some Ultra Agent sets that actually have a quote unquote appreciated in value or have gone up in value. There's like I think it's an Ultra Agents like mobile command truck thing that is a bigger set. It might have like 900 pieces or 800 pieces or something like that. But I think that one's relatively valuable. When I go back and look at Hidden Side or Chima or Nexonites, some of the stuff, has gone up a lot in value in terms of the aftermarket price. Some of it hasn't as much. I don't know as a theme where Ultra Agents is for this set in particular. It's not too far out of the ordinary. And I would venture to say that like a set like this that came out in 2025 probably would have been around that 40, 45, maybe even up to $50, depending on how Lego is feeling. Although it is not licensed, it is kind of their own stuff. But I don't know if we have to factor in like app support and development and getting it on the Apple Play and Google Play and all this other stuff. I don't know how that factors into the price, but at least for me, looking at it, just what's in the box, the Lego set, the plastic that is here, I don't think 40 is all too bad. I think less than that would be great. I probably could have paid 50 for this and still been fine with it. I feel like I got a fair deal, and I am happy about that. And I'm always interested in looking at, Lego sets and Lego eras and Lego themes that are new to me and maybe new to some people that might watch my videos. So this was very, very enjoyable to me. I might look at getting some more Ultra Agent sets if I can find them and they interest me and they are a reasonable price. But that's sort of my take on this. But this was a very fun experience. So I'm really grateful I was able to look at this and share this. So thank you very much. And I think that's it. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including maybe more Lego Ultra Agents and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shape, size, price point, piece count, old sets, new sets, retired themes, sometimes used sets, just tons of different stuff, new sets that are coming out and that are always coming out. But I also like to look at old stuff and retired stuff and rare stuff when I can. So just lots of different stuff, big, small, polybags, minifigures, tons of different things. If you're interested in that, subscribe to the channel. That helps me a lot. It helps other people find the channel. It's free to subscribe, and it means a lot to me. So thank you very much. Another way to support the channel is by giving money to the channel. You can do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. That really, really helps as well. There's also a Patreon. Patreon.com/SoBricks. There's a link in the description. That helps as well. Currently for YouTube members and for Patreon, members that pay, I think it's like $2 a month. I have some videos that are from a different brick built toy collectible company in the Mattel Brick Shop, looking at some of their Hot Wheels cars. I've made 3 videos for that so far: the Corvette, the Maserati, and the Cadillac. I do have the Camaro, the NSX, and the big premium Mercedes as well to look at. And for now, those are behind a paywall. I don't know if they'll always will be or not. If you're interested in my takes on those, you can get access to those by being a YouTube member. So maybe that is an incentive to one of you or none of you or whatever. But that does help support the channel. So you have that to look forward to if that interests you. I also have merchandise, which might not interest anybody, but I like it. I wear it a lot. It's there's a link in the description. TeePublic, search for SoBricks, and there's cool designs on there. I'm always adding more. If you have like design ideas for things I say in videos or whatever else that you want to see on a shirt or a water bottle or a tote bag or a hat or something, let me know. But buying the merch, that's a great way to support the channel. There's affiliate links, and there probably won't be one for this, but for other brick build sets and other gear I use and stuff like that, there's affiliate links to major online retailers. This is retired, so I don't have links to, like, affiliate links, that is, for other sites like eBay or Bricklink or anything. But, maybe consider checking those things out as well. It all helps support the channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.